Munchkin Adversary here, doing a video on Alduin Gijinka's commentary on Sonic93. Reason why I'm doing this is because, one, I just got finished doing Ghost EXE's quote unquote perspective on Sonic93 and Amy-chan and Akai Jane. I have called them out over it, Ghost EXE that is, and I pointed out so many flaws. And even to the point where Ghost EXE was making it look like Sonic93 literally threatened Akai Jane, and indirectly was making it look like Amy-chan was enabling it. So I'm also here to expose things wrong with Alduin Gijinka's take on Sonic93, because this is one of the reasons why the drama was escalating even more. So, first of all, Sonic93 herself sent me this through email like months ago. And when I watched it, I'm just like, how were people even fooled by this? And I'm going to make timestamps. So, let's go.
Why don't you let us see the feelings that you hide?
This is really creepy. I don't remember, but I do know that Super Sprite 65, when he was defending Sonic93, he was finding an issue with Alduin actually posting Sonic93 stuff up here. Why are her drawings up here like this in some kind of entertainment that's about to happen? Like, really? I'm just gonna play it. It's just stupid and creepy for Alduin to have done this. Alduin, if you see this, I know you're not in the drama. You never truly were. I know you're not doing something right now, at least to me you're not, but this is one of the reasons why the drama kept getting so worse.
She'll never know if you never.
FBI, open up!
Unnecessary.
I'm sure most of the people who are involved in the DeviantArt community remember all the drama in the Sonic fandom a few years back. Notably, the fiasco involving Akai Dahlia, right? Of course you do. There was a plethora of videos talking about her and the antics she was up to on her old DeviantArt account. However, two YouTubers always stood out to me when it came to these videos about Akai, and those two were Sonic93 and Amy-chan. What I liked about their videos were that they were not only talked about her character, but also talked about her behavior towards others. It was honestly much more refreshing than people screaming, "Your OC is rigged!" However, over the last couple years since I discovered them, they seem to have been doing their own separate things. Amy-chan is in a healthy relationship with her boyfriend Gmod Spartan, while
We didn't really need to know that. Considering what type of video this is, that's why I'm saying it. Like, technically, you were dragging Gmod Spartan into this, and Gmod was on the list of quote-unquote victims. Gmod Spartan is not a victim of Sonic93, never will be, never was. Leave him out of it. Gmod had his own stupidity for doing what he did, in regards to Yosuri 1, even though Yosuri 1 was not innocent either back then. And Gmod was escalating things with Yosuri 1. Gmod is on that list only because you were weaponizing Gmod. Even though Gmod did his own things, no one has a right to weaponize him. No one has a right to worsen things for him. He has his own life. If he and Amy are still talking, leave them alone, leave them out of it. They have their own faults, especially in regards to what they did to Sonic93, but that does not mean I don't give a damn about Gmod or Amy-chan just because they wronged Sonic93. And I'm not saying Sonic93 is a perfect person either. And I have my own flaws, but leave Gmod and anybody else out of this stuff. I'm saying this in general. Alduin did not need to bring in Amy-chan's boyfriend. You're doing a video on Sonic93 and MelodySugarPlum, or at least her reaction towards MelodySugarPlum. Why are you dragging Amy-chan's personal relationship into this? I know this is like long time ago, but that's my criticism right there.
Sonic93 is doing something, alright. Sonic93 is still doing rants, though to me, her personality and views have become something much to be desired. One thing that stood out to me was that during her old Akai rants, she demonized Jane for shipping her character with both Sonic and Shadow. But apparently, she's shipped herself with Silver and Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Different context. Really. Oh, Sonic93 is a hypocrite because she shipped herself with a character, so why couldn't Akai do it? The thing about it, I don't think it was even fair to compare, given that you're doing a video on MelodySugarPlum, or rather Sonic93 calling out MelodySugarPlum. Why are you using Akai Jane in this? You weaponized Akai, you weaponized Gmod, and in a way, you weaponized Amy-chan.
Not only that, but she seems to dislike Blaze the Cat in the same manner Jane did years ago with Amy Rose,
Oh,
because the character gets in the way of their shipping.
where's the proof of that? Just because she joked about Blaze, just because she may have shown jealousy around Blaze, that doesn't mean she hates her.
Whereas Jane seems to be improving ever since she rejoined DeviantArt, Sonic93 or
Jeez.
Ruth,
Whatever.
as she likes to be called, is still doing this, having lashed out on a commenter about a month ago. But what caught my eye for the most part of this was when my
Ruth, as she likes to be called, is that what you said? Because she does not like her name being spread around. I know I said it, but I don't just toss her name around. You are literally antagonistic in this video.
friend sent me a video she made about the fandom for Silver the Hedgehog. So why don't we take a look? Most of the beginning of her video involves her crediting her artist for her talk sprite, so I might as well skip to her complaints.
So you gave us like some type of X-Men bio for Sonic93. This is Sonic93, the one person that used to have a friendship with Amy-chan. Amy-chan and Gmon Spartan, they're going off to save the galaxy while Sonic93 is just fiddling her thumbs and just thinking about Silver. We don't need to know that. We don't even need to know that she went to Xavier Institute. We don't need to know any of that. You're talking about Sonic93 and MelodySugarPlum. You're soon to talk about her. Why'd you tell us that shit? You were just riling people up, just to sound all like a hype fest host. Alduin, really.
Now, the reason why I want to make a video talking about the Silver the Hedgehog fanbase is that, as a Silver fangirl myself, obviously at this point, I, have seen some interesting things coming from his fandom.
Okay, you did not need to speed it up. You literally sped up her voice. I know you did. Why'd you do that? You didn't think we would want to hear what she is saying? And if we don't, we have a way of actually speeding up her voice or skipping the video, despite how lazy that would be. We can do it ourselves. Alduin?
So, as any Sonic fan possibly know at this point, Silver wasn't exactly the most popular or likable character in his first debut, which was Sonic 06. For many reasons, such as, oh, Sega, why are you making another new Sonic character? We already got enough of them. Why is his hair looking like a pot leaf or a peacock head? Why does he have an annoying voice? Why is he another hedgehog? You get the point.
Yeah, it's not like Silver's the poster boy for shitty boss programming, right? Silver debuted in probably one of the worst video games ever programmed, had 2 shitty boss fights, and his campaign was a clusterfuck full of shitty physics puzzle and agonizing story structure.
Wouldn't that make him a horribly programmed character and not a horribly written character? It's not the same thing. Like, for example, back when I played Resident Evil 5, I noticed people who were complaining about Sheva. You play as Chris Redfield, as player 1, though I think you can play as Sheva after you beat the game, I forgot, as player 1, with Chris as player 2. When Sheva is player 2, without an actual without an actual human player, there's AI that controls her, and the AI, a lot of us with the AI was crappy. So so a lot of people hated Sheva and complained about the way she functioned as player two. They said her character sucked for that reason. Not everybody, but when it came down to, I think I was reading on GameFAQs, people said that Chris functioned the same way, if not similar, in terms of the AI being crappy. So you can't blame a character for being written a certain way, and like really you can't. Core wise, you can't if they have a shitty boss fight, especially if you were to take, for example, let's say Deadpool. Let's say Deadpool sucked in a new Marvel vs. Capcom game. That does not make him a shitty character. That makes him a shitty fighter. There's a difference.
And yes, his voice acting is fucking awful. Sonic 06 had some of the worst voice acting in any game I've ever played, and Silver is no exception. He was built up to be the savior of the future and prevention of the end time, and every line he delivers sounds like he's either constipated or whining.
I want to admit, I used to dislike Jason. It's either Griffin or Griffin. I'm sorry. I used to dislike I used to dislike Jason's voice for Sonic. I thought Ryan Drummond was better. I felt bad for joking about Jason's voice. Even though I like Roger Craig Smith and Ryan Moore, Jason got better for me. Back then, I thought his voice sucked. I thought he sounded like a charmer when every time he voiced Sonic, and I didn't like that. I just thought like no, and then it just sounded like it didn't fit for me. But when I got Sonic Unleashed, things changed. I like Jason, and even for Sonic for Super Smash Bros. Brawl when he voiced him there, I got used to him. But I was not fair to Silver, especially when it came to Pete Capella. He was my quote-unquote least favorite voice actor for Silver the Hedgehog. I like Quentin Flynn, and Bryce Papenbrook is cool. But I ended up liking Pete Capella more because I realized I was being nitpicky. I was just joking around and making fun of a character I never even saw in action. I just saw his design and his scenes, and I judged him by that. And I thought he looked like a Yeti infused with a hedgehog. So there. I had stupid reasons for disliking Silver. At least I admit it. That's no reason to hate the character.
Come on, you monster!
Oh.
What's the point of all this? It'll never end. Then tell me what we should do. How can we completely destroy Iblis?
Okay. If you think his voice is bad, compare it to my example of how I can make him suck. Die, you monster! You don't belong in this world! Then tell me what we can do. Tell us how to stop Iblis. Please, tell us. That's not what he sounds like. This is how I'm going to try to sound a little close to Pete. Die, you monster! How do we stop Iblis? Things are getting worse. Blaze, what do we do? Do you see the difference? Despite how crappy I might sound right here, the real shitty voice that I provided before this one, that's not how Silver talks. I mean, compare Pete's voice to my voice. If you want to roast me, fine. But that just goes to show how Pete Capella, his voice actor back then, sounds better than me especially. Silver's voice does not objectively suck. I used to think his voice did because he reminded me of Trunks. And that was a stupid reason right there. I mean, it's subjective if anything. You want to be fair about that? I mean, hey, having a subjectively bad voice especially does not make a bad character.
But that's impossible! No way!
I see it.
Besides, as far as I know, the Joker...
God Alduin, whatever.
about his hair looking like a pot leaf isn't exactly a complaint, as it is much of a running joke in the fandom. As a fan of this character, I thought you'd think these inside jokes would be as funny as other Silver fans.
Okay, I'll wait.
Here's what
What the Are you serious? I didn't see this before. I didn't notice this. I don't even know if Sonic93 noticed this before. Or anybody. Some people probably didn't, just ignore it. Like, what? What? Your video was inappropriate by far. Alduin.
No.
And as I have been a Sil fangirl for over 10 years, can you believe it? I've always hated it. I don't understand why Sil was so hated back then.
Thank you. Dude, okay. He just keeps saying it's no use. I mean, he's true, he's right. He does not lie. The coin keeps coming back into me. The ring keeps coming back into me. I can't. I'm an endless. I can't die. I can't die. Oh my god. This game can lock you in an endless death.
Oh,
58 seconds. 59 seconds. There is 1 minute. I can't. Are you seeing this? This is the. This game is broken. This is abysmal.
Freaking limbo. See, one thing I meant to say is that when I disliked Silver, I didn't really hate him. Just to clear that up, I didn't actually hate him. I made fun of him. I poked fun at characters I didn't like, and I was laughing and saying stupid things. But to sit there and want to boycott someone, I didn't do that. No. I didn't want to boycott Silver. And right there, it seemed like, if anything, they were having fun. Even if they, quote-unquote, hated Silver, they were having fun. And that was the boss fight. And they were talking about the game having its flaws. They didn't say, oh, Silver is broken. No, they said the game is broken.
I left out and literally the only Sil fan out there. That's how underrated Silver really was back then. But luckily, it wasn't like this permanently and turned out for the better. Silver very slowly, but very safely as well, gained more fans, and even freaking fangirls, as years went by. Now I'm
up to 512 in this video. You do realize, any of you who have seen this before, anyone watching this now, and I'm saying this as a question, you do realize, or do you not realize, that Alduin sped it up. She had the volume up and she sped it up. Sonic93 does not talk like that. It's ridiculous. You tampered with her video by making it look like she was really annoying. Because you had to help us see for ourselves by making us see what you see.
consider Silver as one of the most popular Sonic characters. Maybe even consider the second most popular character after Shadow.
Vallic is somebody that is on that list of fake victims of Sonic93 in my other video. This is the person that had the question mark by their name. It was really stupid to begin with. As seeing how Sonic93 never did anything to Vallic but just give constructive criticism and voice their thoughts and opinions and point out flaws in Vallic's argument in regards to Silver the Hedgehog.
They'll just make a character, expect the fans to like them, then the fans don't like them because their story and gameplay was handled poorly, and if all else fails, then they'll just make them a background character or forget them altogether. After Sonic 06, then they was like, yeah, you know what, let's just forget about that one character. What was his name? Gold the Mink?
Okay, I'm gonna already stop him right here. So, according to the guy, the reason Silver is a quote-unquote forgettable character or barely used in the games nowadays is because the fans didn't like his debut in Sonic 06 and the gameplay and the story were poorly done?
Yep.
Therefore, he's just a background character? What? So, by that logic, literally any character who is barely used anymore had a bad debut and that's why they're background characters? You know, characters like Shadow and Blaze who happen to have a very likable and well-received debut Sonic games.
She's not trashing on Blaze, Just saying, Alduin. And anybody who's out there keeps saying Sonic93 hates Blaze, she just credited her. Or defended her, rather.
To the point that that's the main reason Shadow is still around and even had his own game?
Dude. You think Shadow is always relegated to a background character? He got a fucking DLC dedicated to him in Sonic Forces. He debuted in Sonic Adventure Battle 2. That's like one of the best Sonic games in the fucking franchise.
And that is also why Blaze has 2 Sonic games where it takes place in her dimension. And she gets less attention than Silver from Sega.
You see, if she could say something like that, whether it's fact or opinion, does that sound like a Blaze hater to you?
So, you just stated that Blaze was one of the main stars in the Rush games, and then you say she gets less attention than Silver, who has no main games. What?
Oh.
I'm just saying. I mean, she didn't even manage to be in Sonic Forces, which was a complete wasted opportunity, because I bet she could have a major role in the game.
Then again, she'd probably end up just talking like everyone else.
What's wrong with us seeing for ourselves is whether or not she ended up talking like everyone else. At least I can sit down and watch how ridiculous a video is, see for myself how shitty somebody is without moving all the time. Why can't you let us do it? And come to find out, she ain't like that. You just decided like, oh, well, I can't stand Sonic93. Well, no one else can either. We're not you, Alduin. We're not duplicates of you. Let us skip for ourselves if we want to. You're trying to make a point, but this hurts your point when you are cutting off context.
So, you're admitting that even if she does get added to the game, she'll just end up being a fucking waste. Why would you want her to be the game then, if you know that they're not even gonna fucking use her adequately?
So my point is, that argument is incredibly invalid. If Sega are known for making a character appear in 1 or 2 games, and then they just vanish or are just background characters, where did you get the idea that it was from the fact that they're not likable enough?
Well, sweetheart, we sure as hell haven't seen Big in a long time, haven't we?
Or the debut was so bad to the point fans hate them? Whoever said that they hated Shadow or Blaze in the first appearance and they don't want to see them again? It's actually quite the opposite.
There was a good reason why I didn't respond to what Alduin was, I think, saying about Blaze. Like, why add her if you think they're gonna mishandle her? If that's what she said, because one, Alduin is literally derailing what Sonic93 is saying. You can hear Sonic93 for yourselves. Whenever Alduin responds, and I'm just saying this, I'm not going to force anybody to do it. I can't. But for you to think for yourselves, pause after what Sonic93 says, and then compare it to what Alduin is saying in response. And you will see in a lot of cases, if not all cases, Alduin is derailing from what Sonic93 is saying and twisting her words. You can do that. You have your own free will. You don't need me to make you do it. I wouldn't make you do it. But literally, stop being lazy if you're one of the people who say to this day that Sonic93 was gatekeeping Silver and that Alduin is the queen of all truths. She's not.
Fans want to see more from them, including myself. Although Silver was the victim for being very hated in a couple of years, but he's very likable now, so there's no way he gets barely attention from Sega, that is, because he's not likable enough or he had a bad debut.
Well, I mean, if anything, these Sonic characters were popular enough to appear in spin-off games like the fucking Olympic games and the car games, so...
Why are you talking like you sitting down eating breakfast with Sonic93 after coming out like you were ready to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and you're all out of bubblegum? I'm just referencing They Live and Duke Nukem, which took after it. Whatever.
I wouldn't say that they're entirely shelved to the background. I mean, when was the last fucking Sonic game with a good plot line?
What I'm saying is, these characters should have their own games. For example, Silver the Hedgehog. He's a 14-year-old hedgehog with a destroyed future. With his friend Blaze the Cat, Silver is an optimist, but also a realist, who is hopeful for a better future. Now, I mentioned Silver because he's a very important example of what Sega should do with their characters. What I'm saying is, give Silver his own game series. If you couldn't tell yet, Silver doesn't have that big of a fan base. In fact, he gets a lot of hate most of the time.
Alduin, I forgot. I don't even know. I think it was you. It was you. Why did you speed up Vallic's portion? How is Vallic even a victim with a question mark on that list that I showed in the GhostEXE video, the one I made? Why did you speed up his part? You know, you ruined the whole point of us actually seeing your perspective and her perspective. Isn't the whole point of us watching a video and seeing where Sonic93 quote unquote went wrong? Isn't the whole point of us seeing that? I mean, wouldn't the whole point include us hearing Vallic's perspective without you tampering with his okay, brain fart. Breathe in, breathe out. Alduin, you ruined the whole point of people thinking for themselves, seeing what Sonic93 was responding to in regards to Vallic saying something about Silver the Hedgehog, and seeing why she responded the way she did. No, instead, you are dictating how and why she responded because you say so. That's not fair. I wouldn't do that to you. Sonic93 didn't do that to you when she called you out.
Oh my god! I couldn't disagree more! Why are people still acting like Silver doesn't get attention and love as before? And why are people still acting like Silver still got a lot of haters?
For a few seconds, just for a few seconds up into Sonic93 mentioned haters, her voice was sped up. And that's how you can tell, yes, Alduin did speed up Vallic's voice. Because right after that, it led to Sonic93's voice being sped up.
While people have definitely grown on Silver in recent years, it'd be unfair to say that Silver hasn't lived on through ironic memes. I mean, would you want to be known as one of the most poorly programmed boss fights in a video game? I don't see—
That's not the same thing as a terrible character. That's a programmed boss fight. You just said it yourself. Literally, it's like Sheva in Resident Evil 5. She's not a terrible character, at least not because of her being player 2 and the way the AI functions. Like, let's talk about Leon. Leon S. Kennedy is one of my favorite Resident Evil characters. He's my most favorite. Let's say he was in a game that sucked so bad, the story was written well, but he sucked as an ally. His character was just so bad in that form, only because the AI was screwing up. And then when you put Chris or Jill Valentine in his place, they do the same thing he does. Bad programming. And Moondis himself, despite what I said about him, despite me calling him out, despite Sonic93 calling him out, he made a good point, indirectly, behind the scenes, that no, that doesn't make Silver a bad character. It's bad programming. Different thing.
See why she's in such denial about Silver's popularity. It kind of gives me the vibe as though she can't accept or consider the character's flaws.
Here comes the MelodySugarPlum part. The whole Vallic part was unnecessary, not on Sonic's end, but on Alduin's end, because the real reason why she was showing this video was to make it sound like Sonic93 was attacking a minor when she wasn't. So this whole thing, this showcase and stuff, is a buildup of Alduin nitpicking, like how GhostEXE nitpicked, but not really the same thing, but similar.
Because Sonic 06 was rushed, he was forced to have slow gameplay, and not only that, but Sega handled his character in a way that he came off as annoying. He was too optimistic, not to mention that annoying voice.
So, again with the whole Because the game was rushed, I'm blaming on Silver's horrible debut.
Yes, and that's perfectly fine. Silver's gameplay was significantly slower and more tedious than the other characters' gameplay. As stated before, he had a lot of physics puzzles to work with, like those fucking balls in the desert, and he was significantly slower when you compared him to both Sonic and Shadow, which made it feel 100 times more fucking slow than it should have been.
Among the issues with Sonic 06 was how Silver was handled in the game. That doesn't make him a bad character. If you're gonna say he's a bad character, what about the other things that resulted in Silver having a horrible boss fight? You know, the programming, the game being rushed or whatever. How is he a bad character? You may as well say it affects Tails too. You may as well say it affects other characters too. You're not applying that role to other characters, but just Silver.
And considering Sonic games are defined for their speed, that's not exactly a good thing, is it?
With the gameplay, how slow he was, and was too optimistic, and
Wouldn't that mean that Amy sucked back in Sonic Adventure because she wasn't really fast? Just saying. No, to me she didn't suck. I'm just saying, going by that logic.
annoying, and has an annoying voice? What the fuck? I have never heard a fan saying they don't like a voice of a character, or especially how his debut was.
Well, geez, maybe they like Silver for reasons other than his voice acting and gameplay. Have you ever thought of that? Oh wow, that is so hard.
I mean, isn't that what it's usually getting you into liking a character in the first place? And I just so love how he's not saying why Silver is a good character or why Silver is his favorite character.
Yeah. Ruth.
Oh my goodness. If I hadn't said it before, this is disturbing right here. It really is. And Alduin, you saying her real name like that, along with you going to her profile back then and saying, "Notice me, senpai," or whatever. Jeez. Okay, again, if I hadn't said it before, if you're not doing this now, hey, that's fair game, but what you did, that was a big issue. It made it a big issue. You harassing her, you doing this video, you twisting her words, and other things.
I don't know if you saw the title of the video, but it was mostly about complaining about Sonic games and why their characters are handled so poorly in the story. It wasn't a video praising Silver's personality and what they like about him. It was about complaining and criticizing Sonic.
Instead, he just points out things he doesn't like about him in Sonic 06.
Yes, he's pointing out why the way they handled Silver won't translate well to future games, so that they don't have to deal with more backlash.
If that was the case, wouldn't they just basically change up Silver's gameplay? Look at Amy. Like, if I remember correctly, wasn't Amy playable in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? All they have to do is just switch up his gameplay. Any way they can, if they could. There are some characters, like Tails. Tails' gameplay changed in Sonic Adventure 2. Tails' gameplay changed again in Sonic 06. To me, Tails sucks in Sonic 06. His gameplay, from what I've seen. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's a fair opinion given that I didn't play the game, but I've only seen what people went through when it came to Tails, but I didn't see the positives. So that would be on me because, you know, my opinion is subjective when it comes to Tails. But they could have probably changed Silver's gameplay enough for him to be better. But again, that's programming. You're not applying that rule to other Sonic characters who wouldn't translate well by default with low speed according to your logic. Not my logic, but your logic.
How was that hard to understand?
So my question is, what made you like Silver in the first place? And what do you think of his other performance in the series?
I don't know, why did you fucking ask it before making the video?
I mean, I know him and many other characters get barely attention in the games, but it is your supposed...
Why do you feel the need to speed up her voice? And then two, she made the video and probably didn't think about asking him in person, probably because it wouldn't have been appropriate, I guess. Like, or I guess she could have left a comment. I don't know. Some people handle things differently. I'm not justifying her making a video with a valid part in it and saying, well, I'm just going to ask him here. I don't know why she did not approach him. Maybe she had a good reason to not approach him and just said, hey, I don't agree with this. Because a lot of people, they disagree with folks. And they say, okay, I'll make a video. This is my video response to it. It's not always bad. But Alduin, here's another thing too. Why didn't you approach Sonic93 instead of making this whole stupid video and changing up what she was saying by speeding up over her lines and then twisting her words? And why did you speed up Vallic's portion? So I could ask you the same thing basically, because my mind is just destroyed by the shit I've seen in this video.
Favorite character. Can you please tell me what other things Silver's done that you like? I honestly don't think you saying the things you didn't like what Sega did to him in his first game is gonna convince him to use him more in the future.
The whole purpose of not speeding up someone's video for viewers like this and in a situation like this is for us to get a good grasp of what she's saying, what they're saying, and then we hear what you're saying. And that way we can see where you're coming from and where they're coming from, regardless of who is shitty and who's not.
And unfortunately, the hypocrisy doesn't stop there. I happen to find another fan, or worse, even supposedly a silver fangirl on DA from this poster who was stating a similar opinion. But the thing is, it's even worse than the guy from YouTube.
YouTube!
I mean, she has a different way of pronouncing something. So what? You got them from Ghosty? Or the other way around?
Because she just kept going on how she finds Silver annoying. And fucking annoying!
So, we're not allowed to address if a character is annoying or not? Is that really a bad thing? Because I played Borderlands and Claptrap is my favorite character. And yeah, he's annoying, but I still love the guy. He has some of the best lines and quests in Borderlands too. But I guess because I think he's an annoying character, that means that I hate the shit out of him.
You don't put prompts in your video or enough, Alduin. So what I was trying to say, and I'm sorry for pausing anyone who's watching this at that moment. She's not saying you are not allowed to find a character annoying. She's saying, in general, what is the point of finding a character annoying without even posting the context? Like, what's the context? Why are they annoying? Why are you saying that you're a fan of a character, especially, generally speaking, and you're not really listing the good points, but you're listing the majority of the quote-unquote bad points? That doesn't make you sound like a fan. It's like, she doesn't understand, she says. So it's like a help me understand things. And you say, like how hard is it? You would probably say, Alduin, if you haven't already, because I could ask you, how hard is it for you to understand that if you say you're a fan of a character or you love a character so much, and then you just keep listing bad parts that don't really reflect on what makes the character a bad character in terms of the story and stuff, like the voice acting and stuff, it's like, that does not really affect the story. It just goes against it. It's too subjective.
Among other things that some fans are complaining about Silver. And she's supposed to be a silver fangirl. Ha! Oh, please!
Who the fuck are you to judge who is and who isn't a fangirl of your favorite character? Did Did you honestly just make this video to gatekeep other Silver fans from having different reasons for enjoying the character? Or are you that protective of your fictional husbando?
I don't see your husbando doing a good job of protecting those in need, you know. I see him doing the opposite. You know? I'm just saying, I can see it. I'm not gonna say more. Also, the who the fuck are you part. It's like, Alduin, if I had to make fun of myself calling out Sonic93, I'll do it right now. Sonic93, who the fuck are you to run around in Gotham City and make everything Silver the Hedgehog land? You do not see the issue with this. Even Mr. Freeze knows what's up. You may as well go to Arkham because no. I ain't gonna do it for real. That's a joke right there. Me mocking indirectly Alduin. Because if anyone's gonna try to do a good job of putting on an act like all heroic, when I'm like, who the fuck are you, Sonic93? You may as well talk like Batman or Batwoman.
Do not make me laugh. Just so you guys won't think I'm only saying this because I'm a Silver fan of myself and I practically want to be the best one has ever gotten.
Yes, that is the exact vibe I'm getting from what I've seen this entire video so far.
I almost jumped. Not really. I didn't jump, but I almost did. That's why I paused it when that knife was so close to the freaking screen. Like, I don't. This video is literally inappropriate. Especially with how she called out Sonic93. She was actually trolling her negatively.
You're just sitting here like,
If you judge Silver, you can't be a fangirl of him like me. I fucking pray to night at him every day. I read my Bible of Silver the Hedgehog. You will never live up to my expectations about what it means to be a Silver fangirl.
You can go and say that you didn't know that she was Muslim. I'm pretty sure you knew something of her. But that was completely inappropriate. It made her literally uncomfortable. There was plenty of folks who were going around saying, oh, she's Muslim, she's Muslim. What the fuck does that have to do with her being a Silver fan? Why are you attacking her religion? Why are you attacking Sonic93's religion, huh? And putting all that stuff and mocking her? You did such a shitty job of it. She's not even Christian, but still.
I'm gonna read it for you so you can see where I'm coming from.
Stop speeding. Oh yeah, you sped it up. It's too late. You did it already. It's pre-recorded, whatever.
So this is basically another reading from me, so I hope you enjoy it, folks. All right, I'm gonna start right now. I'm personally a huge Silver fan, and there's a lot of things I love about the character, like his cuteness, his innocent naivety, is that even a word? And optimistic I have to save the world personality. I also really love how he's so sweet and saves others, but there are things that I hate about his personality. Wait, what? Didn't you just establish the things you love about his character? And then the very next sentence, you change it into there are things you hate about his personality? And I'm not saying you should view him as a perfect character, because no character is, nor should be, considered perfect and flawless. But you contradict yourself big time if you use the word hate when you just said what you like about his personality and if you're a huge fan of Silver.
quite the statement, Sonic93. So you have to like a character's personality no matter how shitty they act? Does that mean I have to justify and agree with Eddie Gluskin being a serial killer who mutilates men to create brides? Do I have to condone Dylan Fuentes wanting to tie up people in his sex dungeon and can't disagree with it whatsoever? Do I have to support Reaper for committing acts of terrorism? This statement completely falls flat given the assortment of characters you could easily apply this statement that she made to. How is pointing out what you don't like or like in a character contradictory? Is this opinion that shouldn't even fucking matter to you? Everyone has their own feelings regarding their favorite characters, whether it be mostly positive or negative. Who are you to decide what we can and cannot like about our favorite characters?
So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play a certain thing. And I wanna say this right here. That's not what she was saying. That's not what she was saying at all. I'm gonna play it. But before I play it, I'm gonna read this. I'm personally a huge Silver fan, and there's a lot of things I love about the character, like his cuteness, his innocent naivety, and optimistic, I have to save the world personality. MelodySugarPlum says that, but then says, I also really love how he's so sweet and saves others, but there are things that I hate about his personality. It's like, but a I thought he had an optimistic, I have to save the world personality that you love. But oh, okay, so hypothetically speaking, it's like, all right, there's things that are wrong with his personality, I feel at the same time. Like, I have some mixed feelings. Wouldn't that have made sense then? There are things I hate about his personality. You're talking about the same personality, right? Contradiction. I hate his immature voice portrayed in Sonic 2006. What does that have to do with his personality? That's not his personality. To have a likable character, oh my goodness, they have to be portrayed well, and to be honest, Silver was portrayed as annoying, whiny, but acting like he's all serious when he's around Sonic or Shadow. So wait, he's not likable? You're saying he's not likable. Or are you hypothetically saying that, oh, he's not coming off as likable, but you love him, but that contradiction, regardless. That's bullshit. This is contradictory. You're dictating you're dictating that Silver has to be likable and isn't likable. In order for him to be that way, he has to be well portrayed, as long as he's not annoying and whiny and not acting all like Batman, all like straight laced and serious. Like, then he wouldn't be Silver the Hedgehog. He'd be your character. What I hate is how Silver is insecure when being alone. His overreaction when Mephiles said, I have the power to travel through time. And then Silver is being very immature and shouting, no way! I just find that really annoying. Like, what? What? Okay. He overreacts? How is he overreacting? Like, when he's like, no way? That's just his response. He probably didn't know that Mephiles had the power to do whatever. But then you're like, oh my goodness. Silver is also very silly and gullible for believing a hedgehog with no mouth. It's like, well, if you were in that situation, I'm pretty sure Mephiles would have found a great way to fool you. A lot of us would have been fooled. Whether it was somebody without a mouth or somebody who looked so believable that they look like Santa Claus from Kansas City. I find it silly when he says, if I eliminate that guy, will I be able to save the world? Silver, in my opinion, lacks critical thinking and believes anything people tell him without a question, or finding out the information is actual, especially coming from a hedgehog with snake eyes and no mouth. Again, my point stands. If you were in that situation, what would you have done? And he would have found a way to have fooled you. Blaze felt for it too, not just Silver. And Sonic93 pointed that out to me, and she's right. A lot of you missed that point. A lot of you people who criticized Silver for that reason. It's not a good reason. And he said, I find it silly when he says, if I eliminate that guy, will I be able to save the world? Will the world be saved? You contradicted yourself, because over here, you say he lacks critical thinking. He was thinking. He was not acting head first. He was not just charging in. He was doing some critical thinking. And then you go and say, without a question, he was questioning himself. So, contradiction. Oh, this thing needs to stop popping up. On top of that, I hate how when he was separated from Blaze, he was shouting, Blaze, like he couldn't be alone without her, as stated by Blaze herself. That Silver is insecure while being alone, and I just find that a little annoying, especially from a hedgehog that's supposed to look cool and acts all serious like Shadow when it's available. Um, didn't you find that annoying that he was acting like Silver? I mean, never mind. I got it wrong. What the? Again, that would not be Silver's character. That would be your character for him. You're dictating how Silver should be. And Blaze, however Blaze saw Silver, based on what you were saying, she did not hate him as a friend. She did not dislike him as a friend. So Blaze would not agree with you. Like, let's say if Blaze the cat were real, and you told her basically what you're saying about Silver, she would get defensive. I'm just saying. I know Blaze is not real, but Blaze kept Silver as a fan. Silver as a friend. She saw nothing wrong with him. She may disagree with him, but hey, she did not criticize him the way you haters did. No. If you were in that situation, wouldn't you want to call out to your friend? Wouldn't you feel alone? Especially in a situation where you have to look for the Iblis trigger and you're misguided? Like, seriously. I actually lost my... Well, actually, I want to play this too.
No. Wait, what? Didn't you just establish the things you love about his character?
Yes, she did. Which is a contradiction, and you are right about that.
And then the very next sentence, you change it into there are things you hate about this personality? And I'm not saying you should view him as a perfect character, because no character is, nor should be, considered perfect and flawless. But you contradict yourself big time if you use the word hate when you just said what you like about his personality.
She literally said you should accept the character's flaws. Don't treat them as they're perfect, because no character is perfect. A lot of you saying she was gatekeeping Silver and saying, oh, you have to accept Silver. There's nothing wrong with him. She literally said you should accept a character's flaws. This is another reason why I came back. You didn't catch that, did you? Some of you who keep claiming to this day that she wants everybody like Silver and acts like Silver has no flaws.
And if you're a huge fan of Silver.
Quite the statement, Sonic93. So you have to like a character's personality no matter how shitty they act?
She just literally said you have to accept a character's flaws. That has nothing to do with what she said. You are derailing and you're fabricating upon what she actually said, Alduin.
Does that mean I have to justify and agree with Eddie Gluskin being a serial killer who mutilates men to create brides? Do I have to condone Dylan Fuentes wanting to tie up people in his sex dungeon and can't disagree with it whatsoever? Do I have to support Reaper for committing acts of terrorism? This statement completely falls flat given the assortment of characters you could easily apply this statement that she made to. How is pointing out what you don't like or like in a character contradictory? Is this opinion that shouldn't even fucking matter to you?
Aren't you just basically saying what she basically said? Yes, you freaking are. But you're pretending she didn't say it. What does it mean when someone says, like Sonic93, you should accept a character's flaws? A character that you love. It means you shouldn't ignore what makes or breaks the character, but also why you like the character, what makes that character human, or what makes them personified, rather. If you go and just blindly like a character, which Melody did, blindly like Silver, that doesn't make you a true fan. That was Sonic93's argument. She said it in her other video, her follow-up video, when she was calling you out. I'm saying it because I'm seeing things from my perspective. I'm seeing your perspective and her perspective, and your perspective is not even really a perspective, Alduin. It's just you trolling her and weaponizing people.
Everyone has their own feelings regarding their favorite characters, whether it be mostly positive or negative. Who are you to decide what we can and cannot like about our favorite characters?
I hate his
mature voice portrayed in Sonic 2006. To have a likable character, they have to be portrayed well. And to be honest, Silver was portrayed as annoying, whiny, but acting like he's all serious when he's around Sonic or Shadow.
And this is where she starts to complain about how annoying Silver is. And by that, trust me, it's not just by his voice. So she's basically having the exact same opinion as the guy from YouTube. You know, with the whole, oh, I like Silver, but his debut wasn't the best, but I'm not gonna say what I actually do like about him. Or with her, it's like,
I supposedly love him, but I can't stand the way he was in his debut for some reason.
And apparently thinks that it wasn't likable enough for, again, no reason.
God forbid somebody else has the same opinion as somebody else, right?
Literally, Sonic93 has said, Silver is no exception when it comes to accepting a character with flaws. This whole video that Sonic93 did in regards to Vallic and MelodySugarPlum, this has nothing to do with what you're saying about Sonic93. What you're saying about Sonic93 is you nitpicking about like over her being a Silver the Hedgehog fan, and you just echoing her as annoying how you portray Sonic93. You're narrating over her personality and what she said and did, and twisting it all into what you see. And what you see is not even there, it's just you picking on her. And your topic is different from what her topic is, to the point I don't get how people were able to fall for your video this easily. Well, some of them I can get because they were brainwashed and you confuse them, but others, I don't understand.
And also, how is Silver not being serious when he confronts Sonic or Shadow? He defeats Sonic with an ease, even if he plays him and defeats Silver. He still gets back on his feet and pushes him into the wall, and Sonic pretty much got defeated. Not to mention the 2 times he stopped Sonic from rescuing Elise.
Can you just, well, I forget, you pre-recorded this. Sorry, I was in a moment. This is what I find really, really, really annoying with plenty of people who go out and call out somebody. Not everybody, but if someone has a perspective and that other person, the one who uploads the video, they speed up the other person's speech and they're telling us what they said, why even bother telling us what Sonic93 is saying if you're going to speed up what she says when you could very well let us hear for ourselves? Again, if Sonic93 or anyone, actually not again, if Sonic93 did that to you, it wouldn't have been fair, Alduin. But she didn't. You did it to her.
Again, how is that not a serious character when he shows himself to be threatening?
Melody wasn't pointing out how Silver wasn't serious. If you paid close attention to what she said, she was pointing out how Silver's character is inconsistent.
Okay, I ain't gonna go back, but the whole thing whereas Silver wasn't being serious and stuff, Sonic93 pointed out things already in her new video against you where you contradicted so many times, so I'm not even going to go back. You all can figure out yourselves, and I'll probably put it in the description because there's so many contradictions within your argument. Alduin.
Being all whiny for one cutscene and being totally balls to wall serious the next. That's an issue someone can have with a character, is when they're not being in character.
Okay, how is it impossible for a character to be consistent even if they're whiny in one cutscene and then serious in another? We have our moments as human beings. Somebody could be whiny and they could be wearing a facade to act like they're macho. Is that really inconsistent as a character, or is that inconsistent in the moment? Because a character can be consistent and have inconsistent vibes. And they'll be like, well, I'm here to protect the world. And then the next cutscene is like, damn it, What am I doing wrong? You all don't believe in me. You're just finding out the true colors of that person, or rather the true persona. Or they're having a moment. They're freaking out. But because you're not specifying, because Melody didn't specify over Silver's inconsistent personality and stuff, you're just throwing in your own narrative of Silver.
Especially if you kept paralyzing Sonic with his powers! And with Shadow, he might have shown more of a competition to Silver, but it still doesn't take away that you can take him seriously. The
Still speeding her up, Alduin.
best example of that is that scene that I hated with all my heart that I do not want to show you the whole thing. Just the part after that certain scene. Thank you very much, and I hope you guys have mercy on me. Again, Silver stood up. And more importantly, because of his not giving up attitude, and certainly not acting like a wimp when Shadow did kick him. I'm gonna so kill him for this.
Yeah, fuck Shadow for defending himself, right? Fuck him for trying not to get killed by some angsty teenager who's been blindly following the guy he's been trying to steal to prevent the disaster, right?
I don't know what to find really sad. Sonic93 having that inner fangirl moment of wanting to protect her Husbando, or Alduin, just really not getting the context of why Sonic93 wants to protect her Husbando, especially when you're taking it so seriously that you feel the need to comment on this, Alduin, when Sonic93 is being silly while making a point at the same time. Literally. She's being goofy, and at the same time, she's voicing her opinion, voicing her frustrations, and there's some things she's putting out as facts too. Even if she's wrong about certain things, why are you why are you even wasting your time with this if you're that macho? You could be asking me the same question. Why am I wasting time looking at your husband, though? Alduin.
Imagine being this blinded by your thirst.
I can tell you for sure he's a character you can't take seriously. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about, huge Silver fangirl.
What I hate is how Silver's insecure when being
Okay. Alduin, you said something about how she wasn't talking about how Silver wasn't serious or whatever. Let's do this right here. I'm gonna skim down. Right here, this line right here that I questioned basically, or I got confused about. On top of that, I hate how when he was separated from Blaze, he was shouting Blaze like he couldn't be alone without her, as stated by Blaze herself, that Silver is insecure. Why being alone? And I just find that a little annoying, especially from a hedgehog that's supposed to look cool and acts all serious like Shadow when it's available. Alduin. But again, Sonic93 called you out already. The only reason I'm doing this is to try to deprogram people who still believe your video against Sonic93 and keep on spreading around this narrative that she's abusive and that she's been gatekeeping Silver when it's not true.
alone, his own reaction when Mephiles said, I have the power to travel through time.
Come.
Silver's being very immature and shouting, No way! I just find that really annoying. Silver's also very silly and gullible for believing a hedgehog with no mouth.
Okay, you must get very easily annoyed if someone who just simply get amazed by something annoying.
You easily get annoyed over people's comments and critiques revolving around a fictional hedgehog in a garbage video game.
You said garbage video game. She wasn't talking about the video game. She was talking about Silver the Hedgehog. And weren't you the same person who said, oh, Vallic or Melody, I don't remember at this point, they're not talking about how Silver isn't serious. They're talking about how oh my goodness, they're talking about how inconsistent the character is. It's like, well, what does this have to do with the game being garbage? Right? And I said it. The terrible programming. When it comes to the boss fight, it has to do with the game. You're swinging left and right going up and down and left and right and north and south, all the way with your quote unquote points. You're not even keeping up with yourself. Hey, I can't even keep up with you at times, so I have to recalibrate my brain just to think about what you're saying because I'm trying to reflect on what your responses are in this to the point I'm trying to see how people are getting the wrong idea about Sonic93 because you brainwashed them.
And I have seen people stating on why they don't like Silver's because of how easily tricked he was by Mephiles. I've even seen two memes saying the same thing. It's like they have forgotten that he was desperate to save his future, and not only did Mephiles take advantage of that, but he also made it clear that he's aware of Iblis as a whole.
So, before I continue, anybody who's looking at this, if you still think the issue is that Sonic93 can't handle criticism over Silver the Hedgehog, let's think about this. She's talking about two people, Vallic and Melody, who said they were fans of Silver the Hedgehog. Who said, Melody said herself she was a huge fan. She's not talking directly about other fans when it comes down to her frustrations with what they said. Are you focused on why she called them out? Or are you focused on her just protesting against what they said about Silver? You have to take into perspective of the fact that she is talking about the why. The why is that they said that they're fans of Silver the Hedgehog, that they love him. And they don't really talk about what they love, actually, but rather they blanket it by throwing in borderline basic things, and then they say things about Silver that has nothing to do with him, but rather the game itself, and things that are fan fiction tier, meaning that they want Silver to be what Sega didn't make him to be. That's the issue. You cannot be a fan of a character, a true fan of a character, if you're literally fabricating over a character and you're not pointing out their actual flaws, but rather you're narrating and saying, oh, they're like this and that and this and that, and you are nitpicking and beating up on them. You can dislike things about a character you like. Yes, you can. She even stated that. Sonic93 stated that. You can. But when you slander a character and you use them as a punching bag and say, oh, well, this character, well, for example, let's talk about, I want to talk about Shadow the Hedgehog. I want to make an example of myself being a Shadow the Hedgehog hater. If I was to say Shadow sucks as a character because he's too serious, he's too edgy, and Sega shouldn't have made him, he's out of character, he's inconsistent because he started mourning over Maria and all that stuff. You know that would be stupid of me to say that, right? It would. That's basically what Vallic and MelodySugarPlum did with Silver.
So technically, he didn't lie to Silver. He only misled them from the actual truth.
You know, you think those memes that you showed would clear up why his naive nature is a bad thing? I understand that Silver wanted to stop Iblis from destroying the world, but to blindly trust Mephiles without even questioning a word he said...
He did question. He said, he literally asked himself, would this really save the world or something like that? I'm not going to go back. I pointed it out. If people like you are going to keep saying that to this day, I'm just going to say what Knuckles has said in one media of Sonic. This is sad.
Or asking other people about Sonic, or the history of the Flames disaster, or hell, even asking who Mephiles is might have made the whole act of preventing Iblis 100 times more easier than what actually happened!
And also, need I to remind this stupid fanbase that Knuckles has been tricked by the same person more than once?
Speaking of, again, this is sad.
And I don't see people complain about that.
You know that Knuckles being a bonehead has always been kind of a present theme in Sonic, right? I'm pretty sure the fans are well aware that Knuckles acts on impulse because of how hot-headed he is.
So why is it not okay for Silver to be whatever you make him out to be, Alduin, and for you and others to shit on him and say, "Oh, he's a horrible character." Like, if Knuckles, how is Knuckles not a horrible character, and how is Silver a horrible character? All because Silver is so naive. Knuckles is. Do you even get? Did you even get her context? No, you didn't. You didn't care. And this is why a lot of people, again, were beating up on Sonic93. Because Alduin kept swinging left and right, up and down with her own quote unquote points when she had no real perspective. She was twisting her words, she was twisting Sonic93's words, and she was speeding up Vallic's portion, part of his portion for whatever reason, and not just speeding up Sonic93.
I mean, even when he does act irrationally, it really comes at the expense of the world getting fucked over.
But one game and only time that Syl was tricked by and could even question Mephiles at one point is apparently an idiot because, oh, Mephiles doesn't look believable even though he makes it clear he knows what he's talking about.
I find it silly
When he says, if I eliminate that guy, will our world be saved?
Silver my
Yeah. If I eliminate that guy, well, okay, 20. This is. I think you sped it up. I don't freaking know, Alduin. I'm trying to get it back so I can point it out. 2216. No, 22. Right here.
Mephiles doesn't look believable even though he makes it clear he knows what he's talking about.
I find it silly
When he says, if I eliminate that guy, will our world be saved?
Okay. Right here. Right here. He's questioning himself in the same video that you are criticizing Sonic93 in. How stupid is that, Alduin? You all who keep attacking Sonic93, wherever, whenever. I'm not saying everybody's doing it. Is there some people that still talking about it behind the scenes? How do you ignore that? She acknowledged that. Sonic93 already acknowledged that. So, Alduin, what are you even talking about? You're just literally dodging and just taking what she said and throwing it in the trash bin and acting like she never said it, and then you're retconning Sonic93 basically in this video. This is stupid.
Silver, in my opinion, lacks critical thinking and believe anything people tell him without a question or finding out the information is actual, especially coming from a hedgehog with snake eyes and no mouth.
This girl sure does love to repeat herself, doesn't she?
And so do you! Wow, you can't judge Silver! Stop calling him annoying!
Sometimes we repeat ourselves because we feel forced to repeat ourselves, and sometimes we are forced to repeat ourselves. But, I'm just saying that from a neutral standpoint, and it can get annoying when someone does repeat themselves, but given the fact that a lot of people didn't like to listen to Sonic93 and were so selective of what she was saying at times, I don't blame her for having to repeat herself. There were times when she had to repeat herself to me, and I did get things, but she's so used to people just slamming her and not listening to what she's saying. And there are times when I didn't understand, and that was my bad. So I don't blame her, again, for feeling forced to repeat herself. Because Alduin, you would need it, given the fact that you watched her video and you missed so many things she was saying because you didn't care and you dodged. She would have had to repeat herself, or if she didn't, it's because she wouldn't need to waste her time listening to you. And with that said, be right back. Gotta charge my computer. So I'm back, and I do want to actually make a part 2 of this because this video, given that it is 43 minutes and 59 seconds long, I gotta split it up. I have a lot I want to say right now. Sonic93 was very, very uncomfortable with Alduin Gijinka making this video. And given that she has creepy stuff in it, aside from her Husbando, all this, I don't care if some of you can tolerate this. Sonic93 is a different person. I've seen gory stuff. I've seen different things. It doesn't mean someone else has to go through it just because I can handle it. We're different people. We have similarities, but we are all, at the end of the day, we're separate individuals. And for someone like Alduin to make something like this, you've seen what went wrong with her video on Sonic93. Not everybody, but the ones who are selectively saying, oh, Sonic93 was gatekeeping, and you don't say anything about this. And this goes to Amy Chan as well. Amy Chan, you said back in the day when you and Sonic93 were still talking that Alduin made good points. What good points? What good points when she fabricated over Sonic93's words and twisted them? This is stupid. This never should have happened. Don't blame Sonic93. Alduin, you chose to make this video. You chose to lie. You chose to twist her words. I understand if you don't do stuff like this anymore, but you left a stain. That's the thing. You have people believing you. Technically, you groomed people into hating Sonic93. You're not the only one. You did. So anybody who gets your video that isn't me could actually come after you for the wrongest reasons. Do you know what I'm saying, people? Whoever's listening, whoever cares. Alduin would have a target on her if she doesn't already, unless someone clears this shit up. Because someone could think, oh, Alduin is just trying to harass Sonic93 to this day. She's not. She's not. But someone could have a grudge against her. I don't have a grudge against Alduin. But what she did was disgusting. What she did was inappropriate. What she did was violate Sonic93's freaking mind. She slandered her. But that does not mean Alduin deserves ill will towards her. She doesn't. No one does. But then someone could weaponize Alduin if they haven't already to this day. That's another reason why I did this video. There's so much wrong with it. People just okay it and just want to hear bad things about Sonic93. That's stupid. You're all degrading yourselves, and you're just proving that anybody can be so stupid to say something about Sonic93 that isn't true, that you willfully take it in and you allow them to make you into a hive mind of idiots. That's what Alduin did. She made you into idiots. You fell for it. How does that not bother you? If you fell for this video, yes. But anywho, I'll come back for the next video. Muskin Adversary out.